Hey guys, what's up? This is Bret. Welcome to a new edition of Planet Rotations. I got a little special one here because not only am I going to show you 5 things from this week's playlist or last week's playlist, I also am going to show some VCLT, some Vinyl Community Love Train, as well as a couple new vinyl finds. So let's just get right down to it. First off, 5 things from last week's playlist. I'm going to start it off with this one here. It was the birthday of Ian Curtis, who was the singer of Joy Division, who died at the age of 23. Joy Division, one of my favorite bands. And that day, in honor and in tribute to Ian Curtis, I gave New Order's Ceremony in a Lonely Place a spin. Now, if you're wondering why I'm spinning New Order, it's because New Order formed out of Joy Division. New Order was, or is still kind of, 3 of the 4 members of Joy Division. And their first single they released is this one right here on Factory number 33. And Ceremony and In a Lonely Place were both written as Joy Division when Ian Curtis was still alive. So both of those tracks have lyrics and melodies from Ian Curtis, and then they were demoed back then in the Joy Division days. There's some versions of that. There's a live version of Ceremony on the Still album, but these are with Bernard Sumner on vocals, and their Ceremony is just such an amazing song. And so this was their first single, so I gave that a spin. Actually, I listened to it 3 times. Right when I put it on, it started raining. And in Arizona, rain is pretty scarce, so it was kind of a pretty intense moment there. Another thing, what an album this is. The Sounds of India by Ravi Shankar, really famous sitar player. Just a beautiful album, and I put this on as it was raining, probably right after that. And I remember buying this on CD, and I remember the exact day I bought it because it was some time in the very, very early 90s, because me and my brother went to the record store and I bought this on CD and Mazzy Star's first album. So yeah, definitely early 90s. And I don't have the CD anymore for this, so I came across this record, I don't know, about a month ago, put it on, and it's just really it's really mesmerizing and really beautiful. It's, you know, it's done as a 3-piece live in the studio, I'm sure. And so it features the tabla, which is a drum, and then the tambora, which is just a kind of a droning instrument that provides this sound that is almost the bedrock for the lead sitar playing. And the drums, the tabla, it's just, man, it just sounds so amazing when you listen to this. And so highly recommend checking this one out. Kind of a little segue, since I just talked about Mazzy Star, is I also gave this a listen. Hope Sandoval and the Warm Inventions. This is Bavarian Fruit Bread. Hope Sandoval is the singer of Mazzy Star, and it was just announced this past week that a release date for their 4th album. They've been on a hiatus for 17 years. So this was her first album, first solo album, which came out in 2001. Beautiful, beautiful record. It starts off with a cover of the Jesus Mary Chains Drop. The song Charlotte, Butterfly Morning, Suzanne. It's just a really stellar release. This was her, I pulled this out just to show, because I did listen to this as well. I took a drive in the rain a couple nights ago and played this one. This was her second one, which came out in 2009, Through the Devil Softly. Not as good as the debut, but still really potent and really dreary and really intense. The track Blanchard, the first one, and Lady Jessica and Sam, just a couple ones to check out. So that was that, and then also I gave Moby's Wait For Me a spin. I hadn't played this in a while, and I just have to say that this, I may change my mind, but this is probably my favorite album by Moby. This was from 2009 also, and on Mute. And there's just something about this one that I find I really gravitate towards. The track Mistake. There's a great music video for that one. And lyrically and everything about it, I find it just really an interesting record. I want to show you the vinyl on this one because it matches the cover. It's on white. Yeah, really good. This one in Hotel I tend to gravitate towards. I think Hotel preceded this one. or maybe it was the two before that one, but really great stuff. I saw Moby live, I think twice. Once I saw him with David Bowie, actually. He played at Amphitheater in Irvine, California, and David Bowie played right before Moby, actually. It was around the time of Bowie's Heathen album, and he did actually, I think, pretty much the whole Low album, its entirety. But Moby came out, and I'd never seen him before. I mean, I already was familiar with his music. I had his albums, but was really, really blown away by him. You know, I didn't expect to see, you know, a lot of the voices on there. I just assumed were samples, but everything about that was recreated live. Those singers, the background, the female vocals, everything was done live, and I was just blown away, and the lights were really just intense. It was a great show. Seriously, one of the best shows I've probably ever seen. And that was in 2002. Yeah, I think it was August of 2002 I saw that, so really cool. And I was out in at a record store, one of my favorite record stores in Scottsdale, Arizona, called The Record Room. Just giving them a little shout out here because John and Brent, I just enjoy going there all the time and hanging out, and they always get great stuff in there. So Brent was in the aisle and we were talking, and he was pulling out some records to show me, and one of them was the Chocolate Watch Band, and we were discussing it, and then no sooner did I get home and I'm logged in on Facebook, Vinyl Community, and there's a little Chocolate Watch Band vibe going on. So I coincidentally, so then you know, it's a synchronicity thing that happens with us vinyl people. I don't know, it's like out into the ether, and then everyone else catches on to it subliminally. It's very bizarre. But this is from 1983, kind of a garage rock band. And this is from 1983, a compilation that was put out on AVI Records, distributed by Rhino. And it's really cool. I bought this, I was at a record store with my girlfriend and my brother, I don't know, a couple years back, and there was the record playing in the store, and I was just really into it. But it sounded like the Rolling Stones, but I couldn't pinpoint it. So I went up and asked, and they said it was Chocolate Watch Band, so they actually took it off the turntable and sold it to me. And really cool album. I really enjoyed putting this one on last week. Baby Blue, there's a Bob Dylan cover on there. I think that's the one I heard when I was in the store. That really really struck me. But a really, really good album. I know they have that one, Inner Something Blue. I can't think of the title of it, but it's kind of their most well-known one. But this is a compilation with several of their tracks. So highly recommend the Chocolate Watch Band, checking those guys out. Okay, I'm going to show you next some VCLT, some beautiful gifts that I received from two people in the vinyl community. I'm going to start off with Gerald. Gerald's not on YouTube, but he is very active on the Facebook page. And Gerald has sent me something before, and a super nice guy from Singapore. And he sent me an email because he knows that I'm a fan of the band Suede, and he found something that he thought that I would like. And yes, of course, I love this. So thank you so much, Gerald, for sending me this 3-disc special edition of the Best of Suede, and it's an actual Singapore pressing to that in this slipcase. I'll open it up here to show you guys. So it has 2 discs. It's like a best of compilation, so it has album tracks, singles mixed with B-sides, which is really cool. And then it has a bonus DVD with music videos and some live tracks. It has a nice booklet in there, as well as a little fold-out booklet with all types of information, and it's in a little case here. All 3 discs are stacked there. So thank you so much, Gerald. I had taken a drive right after I got this up to northern Arizona, and this was actually the soundtrack of my drive home, and I listened to both discs, and by the time those were over, I was home. So thank you for that, Gerald. All right, the next one comes from one of my actually favorite people to watch here in the vinyl community is BostonianReggie, Mike. He always shows some great stuff, a lot of stuff that I'm unfamiliar with, and a lot of stuff that we have a common thread with, things that we like. And so I really enjoy learning a lot about different artists from him. And he had recently shown a video where he was out and he took a trip with his wife, I think in the Carolina area, and he stopped, and the video was just some trees or like some nature backdrop, and he was showing records that he bought on a trip. And the last one he showed was from a band that I actually talked about in one of my videos, and that was the band Shelley and Orphan. and how I love the album Century Flower and then Hum Root, which I had showed on CD. But I mentioned in the video that I never had found, found their debut album, Hellboreen. And so he, coincidentally, the day after I talked about that, about Shelly and Orphan, he was on that trip, and the very, very next day, he went into a record store, and there he was, and he found Century Flower on vinyl, which is very bizarre because they're pretty obscure, and you don't just commonly run across their albums. So he sent me an email, and he said he had some things that he wanted to send me, and I opened the box. I probably should have filmed myself opening the box because the thing's staring right back at me. I was just, my jaw hit the floor, and I already emailed him and told him this because I have been looking for this for about 20 years. I discovered Shelly and Orphan back in the early 90s, maybe even around 89, 90, and there it was staring at me. The very first debut album from Shelly and Orphan, British band, male and female vocals with orchestral instruments, oboe and such, and this is Hellboreen. I'd never seen this on any format. I've never come across that, which is shocking considering how much time that I spent in record stores. And it's a gold stamp promo. It has the sleeve, and Mike, you know what's really funny is because you had the record behind it in the outer sleeve. I hadn't even opened up the until right now, right before I filmed, and I actually saw that it even has the press sheet from CBS Records in here from Fred Ehrlich to Michelle Block for that was being sent out to college radio. So it has the CMJ New Music Report, and this was just really cool to have this in here. And there's reviews of the album. There's a whole bio sheet on the band, so that made it even more special. So I can't even thank you enough for that. I'm really blown away to have that in my collection. My brother and I have been fans of this band for a really long time, so I immediately took a picture and sent it to him, and he was like, oh my god. So there's still more from Mike as well, but he did send me a really nice letter here describing how he found it and everything. And now also, this just shows you just how amazing this community of people are here in the vinyl community. I did a feature on the band The Virgin Prunes, a Friday on the Turntable, several months ago on their first album. And I mentioned in there, or I showed the rest of my collection, and Mike had remembered that I had this album on CD but not on vinyl, and he found it for me. He'd been looking out for it, and sure enough, he finds it for me. The Moon Looked Down and Laughed. I was just so like, are you kidding me? This is just so great. On Touch and Go Records, which is also co-released with a Baby, it's got that really cool label on it. Really blown away. I think this came out in '86, and I think it was their second album. And yeah, I immediately put Shelly and Orphan on the turntable, and then immediately after that I listened to this. The track Love Lasts Forever, I have the 12-inch single. I used to listen to that so much. Love will last forever till the day it dies. Alone, great. Just so happy to have this. Virgin Prunes is Gavin Friday, best friend of Bono from U2, and Googie in the Virgin Prunes as well, who, this band grew up with U2, so they were all best friends, still are, I assume. And yeah, really, they're an uncategorizable band because they're all over the place. Their music is very, very, very hard to describe. So, Mike, thank you so much for that. And then one more thing he sent me as well, and something I was completely unfamiliar with, and this is a band called Zeitgeist. And they're from Austin, Texas, and this was their debut album, 1985, called Translate Slowly. And I finally got a chance to listen to this one this morning. And I did some research on the band right after I'd opened this box, and I'd looked them up, and they were kind of hard to find because the band changed names right after this one. And they changed their name to the Reavers, I think Rievers, and because there was another band, I think, in Europe called Zeitgeist. But I'll show you this. I really enjoyed it. It reminded me when it first started off like it's kind of the 80s college rock. Immediately came to mind was REM musically. There's male and female vocals. that kind of trade off on some songs. I think it's more male vocal dominant, and there's some songs that have the female vocals on them. Really nice. What's interesting is they changed their name to the Reavers, which is the name of a book by William Faulkner. And then I got my degree in English, and then as the song comes on, I kept hearing this refrain going on when it got to side 2, the Sound and the Fury, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's another Faulkner book. So these guys were definitely very literate conscious, because the references to Faulkner are in here. And immediately, the 2 songs that stood out to me were Things That Change, which ends side 1, and side 2, Translate Slowly, which is the title track here. And first off, when I saw this album cover, my girlfriend saw it. She's like, is this at Arizona State University? Because there was a little Sun Devil guy there with the pitchfork. But I'm assuming that it's not, because it's from Texas, or the band is from Texas. And as far as I understand, they are reunited and still working on stuff. I know one of the main guy went on to do some production work and stuff. But it's got a cool, let me show you that, label there. So anyways, Mike, definitely enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to exploring this some more in the future. So anyways, guys, just really blown away by the generosity here. So thank you again, Mike. Thank you, Gerald, for all this beautiful stuff. Let me make sure I didn't leave off anything that I wanted to say about that. No. So I'm just going to show you 2 more items here, and then I'm going to wrap this up, because I am already at the 16-minute mark. So I want to just show you 2 more records. I was talking about the Rec Room earlier. They got in, I go there periodically, and 2 things that they got in that I just got immediately. And that was Clan of Zymox, or they changed their name to Zymox, Twist of Shadows. I think this was their 3rd album from 1989. They got in a really nice, this copy is pretty much mint. It is so clean. The tracks Evelyn, Obsession, Blind Hearts, The River, all excellent. Imagination, I think, was a pretty big single, but Obsession, great track, as well as Evelyn, the opening track, really great. So happy to have that in my collection. I had it on CD. I don't know what happened to it, and I came across this about a year ago, and it was really beat up. So I'm glad I waited, because I got a beautiful copy of it. And then this one I've been searching for a really long time on vinyl. It takes me all the way back to 1989 when I got this on cassette through the Columbia House mail-in, where you 12 for a penny, and this is one of the cassettes I got back then. Happy to have it on CD. I got it for a really good price. I think it was like $6 or $7. The Cult, Sonic Temple. So excited to have this one. Sun King, that opening track, so good. Firewoman, Edie Chow Baby for Edie Sedgwick. Just one of the great ballads. Sweet Soul Sister, and then it's got Iggy Pop. I think is it on New York City? I think he sings some backing vocals. But produced by Bob Rock, and Bob Rock went on to produce Metallica. The Black Album was kind of his first album with Metallica, because Metallica were fans of his production with The Cult. I think The Cult actually toured with Metallica on the Injustice for All tour. So anyways, guys, that's it for this episode of Planet Rotations. Huge thank you again for all you guys for watching, for subscribing. Really appreciate it. And thank you again to Mike, BostonianReggie, and Gerald. Thanks so much, guys.